My goodness, this is such an edge of your seat watch. Was it Brad? Was it Michelle? Was it the script that really made you want to be a part of Blood?
I mean, I saw Brad and Michelle's names attached to it when the offer came in, and I probably didn't even need to read it, but then reading it, yeah, I mean, it was all of it. But knowing that Brad and Michelle were apart, I knew it must be good. So, and then yeah, it was just a page turner. I was so blown away by how lived in it felt and how real it felt and raw, and yet it was so quirky and wild and feral, so to speak. So yeah, I was drawn to every element.
We know that you play Jess's husband, sort of a strange husband in this, but how was your character originally described to you?
I mean, it wasn't except for in the script. I mean, it was a little bit different in the script. I felt like he was a little bit, maybe a little bit more. He was a little wealthier initially, and I wanted to sort of make him a little more blue collar, so it didn't feel so tonally different from the world she was in and all that. And it was just a minor little shift that Brad was into. But yeah, I think, for me, like, I just felt like it was important that, he was equally protective, just didn't have all the info. But yeah, I don't really remember how it was initially described to me. I just remember reading it and just being blown away by it.
Was there anything you found particularly challenging then about this one?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, emotional truths in there that are, uh, interesting to explore for sure. I'm always, trying to sort of make sure the character comes first, but there are some things that are easy to relate to. Um, so sometimes those things are the biggest challenge, the things that are closest to home.
What was it like for you watching Finley's transition on screen? I mean, you you have to have been quite impressed by the makeup and the work that went into watching your on-screen son become
Yeah,
this
demon.
I don't demon exactly this frightening, deadly creature.
Yeah, he is the coolest. He is the coolest little kid. Not even, I mean, he's like a 50-year-old man in a 10-year-old body. He likes to hang out with the dudes and tell jokes and I mean, we had so much fun together. He was just a bright spot of every day with his big beaming smile. And so it's pretty wild to see what, Brad twisted him into and what he's able to do in response to the what's asked of him. Yeah, yeah, pretty incredible.
How did you shake off a long day of filming? Is it old hat at this point where you are able to just slip in and out of characters?
I don't really work that way necessarily. So yeah, I mean, every day's a little bit of winding down. There are days that you feel like, and and it's a great feeling, but that you just stepped off stage. And it takes a couple hours just for your blood pressure to settle and
Yeah,
everything
your
to calm
adrenaline
down.
to drop a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. So some days it's, a little easier and it's not that big a deal, but I don't know. I work a little differently. So there's nothing really method about what I do. Um, but yeah, some days are harder. Some days are more tiring for sure.
What were some of your favorite or maybe most memorable scenes to shoot for Blood?
Uh, Man, certainly the scene in the lawyer's office, was pretty intense. And the stuff bringing the child services to the house and that sort of combination of her passed out on all that stuff. Like, I don't know, I love the way Brad blocked it and the way it sort of it just seemed to really, I don't know, I just enjoyed that day for whatever reason. And she is so talented, it's crazy. so raw and real and present, and it just really makes my job so much easier when she brings it like that to respond in kind.
There was such great on-screen presence to both of yours.
Yeah,
And the reviews I've read, both of you get really applauded for the standout, strong performances you've brought to this film. What does that
awesome.
mean to you?
I try and not look at them because, way back when at NYU, I had David Mamet and William H. Macy as teachers, and they said to us, if you're going to read them, you got to believe the good and the bad. So, I don't know, it means a lot. Certainly, it's a lot better than the alternative, obviously. But it means a lot, especially like, I mean, Brad has done such brilliant work throughout his career, and it would suck to really let him down. And I stood across from her. I know how brilliant she was, and so I'm glad to hear that people pick up on
It's another, as we talked before, it's another tribute to the wonderful work you continue to do on our screens.
it.
After Blood, what else have you been busy working on?
Well, we shot that a little while ago. I've done a couple other films that haven't come out yet. I also just shot a 6 episodes for this new series for AMC with Giancarlo Esposito, called Parish. That was incredible. We spent 4 months in New Orleans and had a really amazing time. And that one I cannot wait for people to see. I mean, that is a character I certainly have never put on screen. Wild Cajun who did 17 years in Angola, the toughest prison in the U.S. And I don't know, just a lot of fun.
You have such an interesting dichotomy to your career. You bounce from drama to horror to all these wonderful roles, but they do, a lot of them have a comedic element to them as well. Is that something you look
Yeah.
for, the various nuances in the characters you play?
I, I I mean, I guess it's somewhat there. It's something also that I kind of, you know, I like to bring sort of a well-rounded that isn't just one thing, because none of us are just one thing. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I also had done some comedies like dark. I did a dark comedy called Nobody's Baby with Gary Oldman, and As Good as It Gets is, kind of it's a darkish part of that comedy. And then I did a full-fledged crazy comedy with Leslie Nielsen years and years ago with, Bob Spears, who had directed Faulty Towers and Ab Fab and like these elite British comedians and me. Um, and I guess I kind of held my own. So I was like, it was fun. I mean, we in theater, in school, they used to really talk to us about how comedy is no different than drama. It's just that what you're saying winds up being funny based on, so it's all down to the writer for the most part. So it's just the stakes are sometimes odd, what you put stakes behind in comedy. But I don't know. I guess I look for all kinds of different aspects to a character, and sometimes it works, and who knows, other times.
I loved you on Riverdale, and we saw FP exit in season 4. What were some of your favorite moments from filming, or maybe favorite scenes that you had from filming Riverdale over the years?
That first season, some of that work with Cole and the prison and all that stuff, like there was a connection there that I can't forget. The scenes just really were fun to do and dynamic, and he and I were just clicking. And there's scenes with Machen, the scenes in like season 2, like his speech and at the bar, like stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I really loved a lot of where that character was going, and wish he had never left the Serpents. But that was that.
We'd love to see you make an appearance, but I won't hold your feet to the fire for this coming season
I
about
will
it.
tell you that maybe I just might. We're trying to figure that out.
Well, I watched another interview you did recently, and you said in it that you keep different props or maybe different pieces of characters you've played in the past. And I'd be a little bit remiss if I didn't ask what you have from the craft, if you kept anything.
Oh no, I
It's a
wish I
vintage
did.
question. I know. It's far
Yeah,
back.
there's stuff I had kept that I have no idea where it is anymore. Like when I lived on my farm in Virginia, like it's a 1850 farmhouse with no locks on the doors, nothing. And there were times I went away for 6 months and I'd come back and I'd be like, I swear I had like blah blah blah. Like so I had all kinds of stuff taken off of my farm while I would be working. But I don't remember keeping anything from the craft, to be honest. I had the boots from Scream for, I don't know where they wound up. I had weapons from Ride with the Devil that I don't know where they wound up. But I don't remember really keeping anything from the craft. Not. I mean, that was so long ago now.
And we do have a Scream movie coming out, and I'm sure people have asked you over and over, but that was such a significant film, and people do cherish that piece of work from you. What did it
Yeah.
mean to you to be a part of the Scream franchise?
You know, to be a part of the movie because I never really felt like I was a part of a franchise because you got to remember that I ended in one and then they went on. I didn't go, so I never really felt like I was a part. I do feel it more when I go to these horror conventions and stuff like that. There is something bigger than just that film, and then I start to realize, wow, yeah, this has been ongoing for people for decades now, and it's transitioned to newer generations and not just from 5 and 6 all the way back to one. Like people just are, I don't know, for whatever reason, it's still people are rabid about it.
It's a cult classic at this point.
Yeah, it is. It's wild. It's really wild. But yeah, it's an honor to to have been a part of that for sure.
What would you like to say then to everyone who are fans and supporters of the wonderful work you've done and continue to do on our screens?
Thank you. Honestly, I live in gratitude, and I hope each and every person out there can find what it is they love to do and be determined to do it at all costs. Because I've loved every minute of my career and continue to, and I yeah, I'm very grateful.